Turn it up.
From the YBA Phoenix Fitness 24/7 basketball facility in Rockland, California, it's Bout That Life podcast with your host, Coach C. Collins and Coach MJ.
Get it started. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Hey, I'm Coach C. Collins, and Mark is usually here with Coach GGT, and we're About That Life podcast, where we talk a little bit of AAU basketball and everything in between. The only reason I spoke for Mark is he's caught in a little bit of traffic and he's on his way. But I just told him, drive safe, get here, brother. So he's going to hop on at some point in the show. But, you know, at the end of the day, we got to keep this thing rolling. So he'll be here soon enough. Again, if you're here and you've been staying with the show pretty consistent, whether it be on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, however you've been helping to support the show and just listen and, you know, maybe leave a comment and things like that, I really appreciate it. If you're here and you're probably like most ghost viewers, you're checking it out and you're not hitting that like button or subscribe button, be greatly appreciated if you do. Smash, destroy that subscribe button. One small click for you is a big help to the show, and it's always appreciated as usual. Big shout out to our sponsors, Courtside Basketball and Hardwood Palace. If you're looking for AAU tournaments and you're looking for, you know, basically a place to practice, good basketball events, places to go like that, check them out. Their links will be in the description. Also, shout out to West Coast Legends. They help with sublimation, jerseys, anything you need like that. They got you. They'll hook you up. Danae and Marcus do great work. I've been working with them for years. I've known Danae a long time. She's been making jerseys and stuff for me for a long time. So hit them up. All their links will be in the description. Check them out. You know, they've been great supporters of the show. And give another big thing, shout out to our Patreon supporters and the Podbean Patreon supporters, man. We really appreciate you. I really appreciate you. And we want to just keep going from there. So without further ado, as my boy mediocre what's it, MTR, what's his name? He does a podcast where he reviews stuff in the manosphere. That's his little quote. I want to get to our guest. My guest here, I've known him quite a while. He's one of the first people I met when I became a part of YBA. He's very passionate about hoop, but just passionate about everything in general. Gotten to know him, consider him a friend, really cool cat, family man, artist, and we're going to get into all that, of course. If you've seen YBA or you've seen him coach, you definitely can hear him. He's a very vocal and loud coach like myself. So trust me, I could definitely appreciate that. And, you know, it's just a pleasure to have him. We've been trying to connect for a while, but work schedules and just life schedules and the pandemic, just throw everything in the way. It's been there, but we're here. He had a chance to show up, and then, you know, who knows? Maybe I'll have a part 2, a part 3, a part 4. I don't care. Either way.
We'll keep it rocking.
But either way, without further ado, let me introduce Coach Anthony Anderson.
How you guys doing, man? Coach, how you doing, brother?
I'm all right, man. I'm hanging in there.
I know it. You constantly grinding and doing your thing, man, helping everybody out. And I just want to say real quick, shout out to the show, man. Thanks for having me on, and I look forward to having Mark in here as well, too. He'll be here any minute.
Yeah, I know he's going to walk through the door
any minute.
I ain't worried about it.
But I'll take something from my podcast that I do, and I always throw a cheers, man. So cheers to you, my brother.
Appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you having me on, man. Excited to be here.
Anytime.
Yes, sir.
So let's get right to it.
Yeah.
You know, let's talk about you go ahead and fill the audience in a little bit of who you are. Let's talk first about just your basketball background. You can go from like high school up, you know what I mean?
Okay, yeah. So my name's Anthony Anderson, a.k.a. AT. A lot of people call me AT. But basketball-wise, I started in high school. I went to Granite Bay High School. Started in 2003.
Nice.
Went there from 03 to 2007.
Oh, here's Mark right now.
And here comes Mark. And this is what we're going to do when Mark comes in. We're going to give this man a quick, nice introduction. Welcome to the show, Mark. How you going? How's it going, man?
He just made it in, bro.
Pleasure. It's so nice of you to join us. No, I'm kidding.
First time ever on Bout That Live. On the show.
All good. It's all good. It's all good.
Welcome to the show, Mark. Welcome to the show.
Oh, yeah.
As long as I'm here, that's all that matters.
That's what matters,
right.
man.
You're
it's good
right.
to meet you, Mark. Good to meet you, man. But
so what I missed?
Not much.
We're just getting into the
Anthony's
first.
just getting into
talking about some hoop stuff.
His basketball background.
Okay.
So yeah, I went to Granite Bay, man, 2003 to 07. Played freshman basketball 2003 to 2004 for one of my good friends, Coach Hunter, who was a coach for YBA, and I got a chance to coach with for a period of time. He was my freshman head coach. So my freshman year, we go 22-5. did some good things. My sophomore year in the summertime, I was playing with the JVs, you know, playing with my guys. And these are guys I've been playing with since I was like 9.
Okay.
So I was used to just me and my guys. We grew up together. Going back before high school, kind of build some foundation. I got cut when I was in 7th grade. And I didn't get cut because I wasn't good. I got cut because of a dilemma.
Okay.
I got cut because, and I figured it out later on in life, which was they didn't know how to take what I was bringing. Because my intensity level when I was younger was so, like, on some other, you know what I'm saying? Because my mindset was I'm going to be in the league or I'm going to be some type of something in music. Like, that was it for me.
Right.
So my intensity level when I was younger was I already am him. Right. So when things wouldn't go a certain type of way as far as my trajectory, because I knew I put the time in, I knew I put the work in, it was very frustrating. So when I was younger, I feel like coaches didn't understand how to take that. Right. Because I know even for me as a coach now, if I get a kid that comes in with, I'm a grown man. Yeah. You come in with the same intensity level as me and the same passion as me at the same time, I may or may not be ready to either deal with that as a coach or accept the fact that there's somebody else out there that's like me. Right. Because a lot of us coaches that were former players never accepted that. That's why we were good. Right. We never accepted that this dude's as good as me. Yeah. So when you get into that coach's realm, you got to figure out how you can separate who you were and what you were versus who you're coaching. Right. And that was always something that I always kept in mind when I first started. So that was something that, you know, and it's always something that you keep. Right. That you keep around. So I got cut in 7th grade, didn't understand it. Immediately started playing AAU ball though right after that. Yeah. And it was a thing where a lot of the parents and people didn't understand why I wasn't playing. Halfway through the year, coach tried to get me to come back and play. Or it was 8th grade, excuse me, not 7th grade, 8th grade. Didn't play. Right. Play AAU. And that really opened my game up, and that led me into
which AAU programs did you
into high school? So I played for the NorCal Pharaohs. Okay. Played for the NorCal Pharaohs. When I started off when I was younger, it was, you know, rec league stuff. It was you know, NJBA, stuff like that. But once I started playing seriously, it was all NorCal Pharaohs. And I got a chance to play for Coach Pablo and Coach Bill, who, you know, Coach Bill went to Sac State, played there, did his thing. Coach Pablo played overseas, did his thing in Europe. Nice. So to be a young kind of kid at that age, at 13, who was kind of down on himself, knew he had skills, but was down on himself for being cut, they really uplifted my spirits. And the people I was playing around, too, really showed me, like, hey, yeah, you know, you're playing around some really good talent. Yeah. You know, with the kids that you're playing with. But these kids, though, if you can measure up with them, hey, as much as it hurts that you got cut, you're, as far as skill level and where you're at right now, you can't really be mad about that part. Right. And I was lucky to understand that at that age, because most kids at that age would be like, man, I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear anything. So I was blessed to have that.
You sounded like you had like a confidence booster.
It happened. Once I made that AAU team, because I remember going out to tryouts and being nervous, and coming out there and being out there in my zip up T-Max and try, you know what I'm saying? Right. Trying to get that back. Right. And I remember playing well in the tryout and getting in the car with my pops. And pops always would ask me, like, how do you think you played today? And he would always ask me, be honest. Like, don't just say, oh, I played good. Like, really be honest with yourself. Right. And I remember being like, Dad, like, I think I really showed something today. That's dope. And that confidence from that conversation and that car ride to getting that phone call the next day to say, hey, he made not just the team, but he made the traveling AAU team. Nice. I was through the roof. I was over at my buddy's house. I'll never forget the day, man. I'm at my buddy's house. We're hanging out. But buddy's mom goes, hey, your mom's on the phone. Pick it up. She was like, hey, Dad's got something to tell you. Tells me, hey, son, you made a travel team. You're going to be traveling all over California, Vegas, LA, all that. So I went from being the kid that got cut to, hey, I could play. I could play. So that was definitely, that was crucial.
So circle back to your high school. So you're at Granite Bay. You're playing high school ball. You know, I'm assuming you played all 4 years of high school.
Yep, played high school ball. What about freshman year, sophomore year? Was playing with the freshmen all the way in the summer, all the way up until a point where Coach Gwen Boggs comes in. He's becomes a new varsity coach. Yeah, he sees me in a workout in the summer. Comes up to me, never forget it. Comes up to me, goes, "I'm gonna make you a player." And like I didn't know what this. I'm like, who is this dude? 60 years old. Who is this guy? But he ends up being my PE teacher, and he ends up sitting us down and doing the whole camp thing. And if anybody knows Coach Gwen Boggs and what he's done with Triple Threat Camp and what he did at Washington High School in this past, he did it in the late 70s, early 80s, or mid to late 80s, early 90s. He did a lot of great things, and his story is really cool because he's a basically a barnyard kid, a kid that came from, you know, hey, I lived in a shack-style home where you can see the dirt. I'm this tall. I was horrendous as an athlete, but he worked his ass off to become a good player and a good shooter and work his way up. So his story was inspirational as a young player where you're like, hey, if this little dude can do it, I'm naturally gifted. I'm 6'4", 6'5". Right. What's my excuse? So I learned a lot from this guy. I started playing for him my sophomore year instead of playing JV ball. So I started playing varsity. I'm 15 and a half. So I'm like, okay, you go from that confidence boost in 8th grade, 9th grade to hey, now you're playing against 17, 18-year-olds. You can play, but can you really play? Right. And me being a tall body, thinner bodied, not as physical, more of a finesse player, but had the attitude of like a Kevin Garnett. Thought he was that big. It was a challenge to figure out how you can be effective and still be the guy that you are known to be, because you're not on this team for no reason. So played sophomore year. We missed the playoffs by 1 game. I played really well in the last game, gave me a lot of confidence. I remember walking out of the gym, and my coach was like, hey, you know, take some time off. He had a great year. And I was like, yeah, I'll be back in the gym Monday. Hey. It's Friday night right now. You know, my friends want to hang out and do all that. We'll do that this weekend. But come Monday morning, I'll be in the gym before class, period. I love that. It's just what it is. And, you know, we see here you got Kobe, you got Mike. Those are my guys.
Mamba mentality.
Those are my guys. Michael Jordan and Kobe. You know, Kobe's on the back of on my phone cover. I mean, just that mentality to say, hey, I don't care if I failed. I don't care if I didn't do what I expected myself to do. I'm going to go get that. I don't care what it takes for me to do that. So after that point, I started going to the gym every morning, me and Pops. 5, 6 a.m., go to the gym, work out before class every day. So my thing was, I got an hour and a half on all of y'all before you even come to school. We're going to go to school. You're going to go to school. You're going to BS. You're going to come to practice. It takes everybody in high school 15, 20 minutes to get warmed up. Boy, I already did a whole workout. I got 700 shots in already. I'm already ready to go. So come the first drill, I'm on your ass.
I like that.
I'm on you. And if you don't like that, and if you're mad at that, then hey, come see me at 5:45 in the morning. Let's get some workouts in.
That's good.
Let's take a shower at 6:45 and go do these BS, these classes we don't want to do, but we know we put the work in now. Come, let's do that. And that was just my mentality.
That's good.
That was my mentality all through high school.
You have the right mentality. So then let's go to after high school, college. I know, like, I mean, you're going to say your story, but, you know, we were just talking about your years at Jessup and things like that. But go ahead, talk about your college story. Yeah, so college story. So my senior year, we go 23-5. We freaking lose in the first round. We're a 3 seed. We lose in the first round to Grant. Grant's a 14 seed. They come into our house, beat us. We lose. So for me, though, I knew that wasn't the end of my basketball career, though. It was tough, though, for some of my teammates that were my friends that knew that, hey, that was it. So taking that into consideration when I went to play was I'm keeping the spirit of, oh, my guys, I've been doing these dudes since we was 10. So the decision I made to go play is bigger than just me. Bigger than me, bigger than my family. It's about all these guys, all these coaches that I've had to get to this point. So I decided I had an offer from Colgate in New York, but at the time being 18, never left Cali, I was like, hey, nah. I'm cool. Yeah, I'm blamed.
So I ended up deciding to, and then Jessup came, but at the time I was like, nah, I want to keep my options open. And then Coach Fasano came, my senior year, came, had a really good rapport with him, and I remembered him. I was like, yo, I really love Coach Fasano. And I was like, he's at Sierra, he's doing some good things. He's got James Doran, he got Mike Philogene, he got these guys. He had who was it, man? He had another one of the guards. Last name was Johnson. Went to forget what school this kid went to, man. But this dude was super, super, super good. I'm blanking on it. Matt Johnson.
Matt Johnson.
Matt Johnson.
Yeah, Matt.
You know Matt Johnson's little son playing now. Oh yeah.
I coach, you know, shout out to Matt.
Man.
Yeah, you know, I coach his son. Yeah, his son was playing for my AAU team.
Bro, nice. So I remember
Matt had super bounce.
You know, and obviously we know Coach Cole, Brandon at the time he was there. So I remember coming in my senior year after we're done and going to a workout with them. And we scrimmaged and did all that. I remember watching Matt Johnson and James Doran and these dudes are just prolific scorers and shooters. And you sitting there and like, you know that you're good, but watching them, it was like, yo.
I mean, but that's JUCO. I mean, that's what
and these dudes were Division I level guys that were still here.
Yeah.
Because of circumstances or whatever.
That's why we talk about, me and Mark talk about it all the time, like to these kids, because a lot of, I know his kids listen to the show, my kids that I coach listen to the show, but I like that they hear it from other people.
Yeah.
Because me and him could, you coach and train a kid after years and years. After a while, that you could just sound like a damn broken record.
Oh, 100%.
But it's good for people like you and from the outside looking and saying, no, like their JC level is college level. You know what I mean?
It is.
Some of these kids have this misconception like JC's the 13th grade or something. It's like, it's
if any of y'all watch Last Chance U at all?
Yeah.
I mean,
It's true.
you watch any of that. Some of these guys' stories, I mean, I was playing against a ton of Division I kickbacks every single night.
Yeah.
Every night where you go into a game and you're like, wait, wasn't that dude that went to West Virginia last year? What happened? Oh, he had grades?
All right.
He here?
Now here playing against
6'11",
you.
I got to play against this dude? And it was every night.
Yeah.
Playing against the Loney, the Deltas, DVC, all these teams from all over the place, all over the country. The Butte colleges of the world, even Santa Rosa at the time. Some of these guys, these prolific shooters and scorers, where it's like, hey, I know I could play, but I gotta really be ready to play.
Yep.
And so I decided to go to Sierra, and it was the best decision I made. Coach Fasano taught me how to be a tougher defender, a tougher player, period. Because he knew, he's like, yo, you good, but hey, man, you get. You're a feather. You knock your ass. You're too soft, bro. You finesse. Like, you tough, but you haven't been in enough situations and scenarios where on a daily basis, this is what you face 24/7. And if you can challenge yourself to say, I'm going to do that, you just imagine the player that you can become. And I just went full-fledged into it, believed every word he said as hard as it was, and just went and did it. And it really benefited me, man. So shout out to Coach Fasano and to all my coaches I had there, man. Coach James Sheridan, all the players I played with. You guys have really helped me grow. Because I was one of the youngest kids on the team at the time. Was freshly 18. Wow. You're playing against 23, 24. A couple kids, a couple guys was 28 that had gone on, done some other things, came back to finish up. So I'm out there like, yo, you really a baby out here. You got to learn how to be a man.
Yeah.
So shout out to Coach for really teaching me that, man. That was awesome.
And then after Sierra, is that when you went to Jessup?
After Sierra, I went to Jessup. So I'm at Sierra my freshman year, sophomore year, play half the preseason. We're doing a practice, New Year's 09. I tear my knee up, get hit on a I'm just doing what I'm taught. If I'd have been 2 feet off and helped, like not under the basket, I would have not got hurt. But I'm right where I'm supposed to be at when my teammates gets hit, takes a charge, falls into my leg, I'm not looking, twisted up, tear my PCL, all that. So I ended up
Mark
missing,
knows a lot about that stuff.
Tore PCL, strained LCL, strained MCL, severely sprained ACL, basically almost blew the knee out. And so it went from, okay, you're a sophomore, you're highly touted, you're doing great, to, hey, now you're going to miss 16 games, you're going to be out 5 months. You're quote-unquote damaged goods. People are still going to want to rock with you, though, because you're 6'6" and can shoot. Yeah. But you're going to be dealing with that part now. Still getting the calls, all of that, going to college, doing my thing at Sierra. Always had a high GPA. That was never a problem. Good. But dealing with the business side of basketball. Dealing with I'm done with class now. Hey, I've gotten 7 calls a day from these colleges, but these 6 know I'm hurt. This one don't know. These 6 are giving me this now because they know I'm hurt, but this one don't. But when they find out that I am, it's going to be this. And then you got this coaching staff who wants to get me, but hey, 4 of them coaches are leaving for other staffs in 2 months, and if I come, it might not be the same thing. Yeah. So all these different things in the business of politics that you had to start thinking about and worrying about. And I just started focusing on the business side of things, going into to Jessup. And then it was Jessup and Chico State and Weber State. And Chico State, I really wanted to go because it's a business school. That was my major. Took a couple extra weeks. Shout out to the whole staff, though, man. The coaches, all there. I love them. Yeah. Still got love for them to this day. But I chose Jessup, met with Coach Aaron Muick at the time, who was coach over there. Coach Muick, Coach Purcell, met with them and decided to sign with them and went to Jessup and played 2 years there for Coach Muick. So, got a chance to play against Chico State a couple of times and coach and Jay Flores and Rod Hawkins and some guys that I really love. But I got a chance to go to Jessup and get my education, graduate. And
it's a great journey.
It was a great journey, and it was awesome to be at Jessup because you're playing in the Calpac. You're again playing against Division I kickbacks. You get a chance to play against Oregon Tech, right, and the winningest coach in college basketball history, not just NCAA but NAIA. Getting a chance to go up there, play in their gym. We lost to them every time we played them. we had them down 2 or 3 of the times, and they came back, beat us. A couple of times at Oregon Tech, had them down, they beat us. But I always played well against them. Right. And the reason was because I knew who their coach was. Right. And I was like, yo, if anything, if we don't win, at least get your respect, guys. Right. And I remember going up there and shooting well and doing some things and having their coach and one of their announcers tell me, like, hey, man, we've had a lot of players and shooters come through here over the years, but like you're one of the most prolific and to watch.
Nice.
And so for me, even in the moment where you're losing by 17, you're gonna lose the tournament, whatever.
Right.
As a basketball player,
good.
understanding what the state of Oregon means to basketball, and to have that guy that's been announcing games for Oregon Tech for 40, 50, whatever, how many years, and shake those guys' hands, walked out of there feeling like, hey, when I hang them up and I'm done, you can at least say that you earn the respect of guys like that.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And you can pass it down to your kids, which we'll get into.
Yeah,
So,
of course.
Yeah,
That's
man.
dope.
So then, let's talk about the AAU side of it. And like I said, very cool journey. I'm glad you shared that with me.
Absolutely.
What's your overall assessment of AAU? And what I mean, I always ask this, is always pretty much my lead question, but it's, the good points, the bad points, watching the evolution of AAU, where it's been, where it's going. I mean, you could even look at our organization, YBA, as a barometer of it. You see when I got here to where we're at now. I mean, totally different. But what's your overall feel and look of AAU basketball?
Overall, I got into it as a player in 2003 and as a coach in 2012 and to the present. So I've been involved in it for about 18 years.
Yep.
From a player's perspective to a coach's perspective now, and from our program, there's so many different growth levels that have occurred, especially with I'm being probably biased because I've been here.
Yeah.
But seeing what we've done from it just being kind of a clubhouse for basketball players to an academy.
Yeah.
You go from just bringing players in and having former college players or former NBA or whoever coming in and guiding this talent to, you've got the correct players, you've got the right people in place as far as sponsorships and opportunities.
Yeah.
You've got the right coaches and you've got the right spectatorship even as well, because even now I've even noticed, because of what we're doing, the respect level and how it's viewed.
Oh, yeah, YBA
is different.
Yeah, it's definitely.
And, I came in when I started in 2012. I started with a third grade team, moved up with them from third to fourth to fifth grade, left that group, went with another group from sixth, seventh, eighth into their freshman year, left them, went with the group I've had now, ninth, 10th, 11th. Now they're seniors.
Right.
So doing that evolution and going from got a bunch of teams to, we're an academy. We're not just an academy. We're winning tournaments, not just locally, but in Vegas. We're winning tournaments in LA. We're moving around. We're doing
national
some things.
recognition.
National recognition. The way that we've changed our social media platform into being a platform for our players, encouraging our players to get involved with that, and it's supplementing their growth opportunities for colleges and for looks and for all those different things. It's a professional look from the top down, from the time you walk into the door and the interactions that you have with coaches and the interactions that you have with the players and the way that our systems are run. Because I say even before when we started, when you came in, I had been here for a couple of years and you came in, there was only maybe a handful or 10. Now it's from top to bottom, systems-wise. It doesn't matter if a coach is a man-to-man principal guy, a press guy, a zone principal guy, a motion offense guy, a sets guy, a horns guy. It doesn't matter. There's principles set, and they're being followed by each and every one of these teams, each and every one of these players, and it's translating directly into success within the program and success for these kids outside of the program as well.
I mean,
so when you're able to combine both, hey, man, I mean, it's been a blessing to be a part of this, bro. It really has.
You've seen it. We when I came in, now, and you saw me from day. I mean, I never anticipated being in this role for me for YBA. I came in just as a coach. Honestly, Mark, that's all it was. It was just me. I just wanted to coach and have fun and stuff. And then me and Ken's relationship just kind of grew naturally. And then we both just, I do have a very business mindset. I mean, anyone who sees my social media, you guys can realize I don't sleep much, and I'm always on the fucking go, and I'm always doing something.
That's why we get along, man. We always doing something.
Exactly.
Even when the work is done, there's something else that we feel like we need to be doing.
And so once I started seeing some things, I just me and Ken would just naturally, we always used to go to Blaze Pizza or Mel's Diner, and me and Ken would just sit down and talk. And we would just talk for hours and just different ideas and stuff. And then the cool part with Ken G, I would say, is he's the type, he's open to ideas. Most guys in his situation are very closed off, very no, this is what works. This
is what we're doing.
This is what we're doing. But I would say an idea, and 2 days later, he's like, "Oh, Chris, I like that idea. Go ahead and let's try it." And then we would try it, and then it just kept kind of growing and growing. Then, of course, you be quite honest, you had the right brothers in the right situations. Like you mentioned, Brandon Cole, Marcus Robinson,
and Brandon got me into it. I mean, my story with Brandon. I met Brandon. I played with Brandon at Sierra, and with Fasano, 07. Met him then. We became brothers in a practice.
Yeah.
It was a hard practice. He was killing everybody on this bubble drill where the rims is bubbled, and he doing offensive rebound. He's killing everybody. And I'm out there getting my ass kicked. I'm a freshman. I'm trying to figure out how to actually box out, not just stand there and be 6'6" and jump. Really be a man.
Yeah.
So he killing us, and we getting killed, and so we end up running. And he could tell I'm really getting frustrated, but he could tell that I was working my ass off. And he comes up to me when we about to run, and stands next to me on the line. Was like, "Yo, it's me and you." Like, he noticed it. He was like, "I got you, bro." He was like, "Me and you. Like, me and you gonna race these liners. We gonna, like, I see you."
Right.
And I was like, "For sure." Like, I'm out the freshman doghouse, bro. Like, and we became brothers and challenged each other every day. And then Thanksgiving comes around, dorm shit. I'm like, bro, they're making people pay for dorms during Thanksgiving. Crazy bullshit. And I was like, hey, you know, come be with us, bro.
Yeah.
With the fam.
Yeah.
Came stay with us, bro. Became fan ever since then. Brothers.
Nice.
Love that man. He got me into YBA.
Yeah.
Because he knew that I wanted to coach, but he also knew that I was like,
Yeah.
Because I knew I was so intense. I was like, yo, I'm a Kobe Michael dude. So, like, for me to really take it to that level, I'm going to need to be around some guys that have done it.
Yeah.
Not just coaches that have coached me as a player, coached me as a coach. Yeah. And so I learned a lot. My first couple of years learning, going through trial and error, learning, dealing with parents, dealing with situations, dealing with players, learning, and then figuring out, okay, I can be this intense guy, but I'll do it in pockets when it's necessary. We put the game plan out, put the ball in the kids' hands, let them ball. That's their game. But when they need it, I give it to them versus it being from tip to end or from the beginning, first whistle to the last whistle in practice. Compartmentalizing that energy. Once I made that choice, that's when things started getting better.
So you mentioned parents, so do you think that's the because we talk about this on the show all the time, but do you think that's the biggest, could be either the biggest positive or negative when it comes to AAU basketball? Is the
100%. And I'll say from my own experience, being young, because I was 23. So, but in the game, I was, you know, a veteran in my mindset. But as a young man, dealing with other people's kids, all that, it was different. So you had to understand, and I'm over here at the same time, we'll tie the music thing in too.
Yeah.
Doing my music, full-time musician, full-time, all that, balancing that with a social life, coming to games, being there for these kids, so trying to figure out all of that. And so, you know, there was times where I slipped up and made mistakes and made errors where I overbooked or overdid whatever. But I really started to learn early on, especially after my first year, how to balance all that stuff. And so once I got through that first group and learned from that, and I feel like every coach has had those moments with all their parents where there's like a whole meeting where everyone's like,
you always gonna have, you're gonna have a meeting.
And that for me was humbling, because it wasn't even upsetting. Yeah, it was more so humbling, where it was like, hey, there's a bunch of guys that parents, they care about their kids. You care about them. Learn from this. Learn from your positives, your negatives, and move forward. And that next group I got from there, I learned from that and got even better, and was able to kind of double back with my original group and say, hey, these are things I messed up on. This is what I'm doing better with now. You're still my guys. If you ever need help, whatever, we keep doing that. So you keep growing as a coach. It's not just pushing the kids to be better players. You have to say, hey, as a coach, when you come over tonight, how effective was I tonight? Yeah. You know, if we were doing a lot of running, how much of that was on them? Right. Did I have them ready? What am I doing? So, and then communicating that. You know, I always communicate to my boys. I'm the most transparent, like ever. Like, I'll be on it, but then I'll be like, hey guys, I wasn't very good in the second half last week. I wasn't very good. I gave you guys too much freedom to do, and I could tell y'all needed more from me. So I'm gonna be better about giving more structure.
Well, that's big as a coach, because
it's huge.
A lot of coaches don't say that.
They don't say that. So when your players see you say that, they're like, oh, my coach is holding himself accountable too. If he asks me to do something, I'm gonna do it. Because if he messes up, he's probably the hardest person on himself more than anybody else. They got to know that. So
that's good.
Yeah, man.
Well, I want to talk about your music now, because, you know, with sports and, like you said, your passion, it seems to reflect in how you approach your music, because that's, like you said, your second passion, right? You know, your journey, you know, you could speak some on your journey as an artist and how you've applied kind of speak on your journey as an artist, but also how you've applied this same work ethic you had in sports to that journey.
Oh yeah. Sports and music go hand in hand. I mean, I remember when I started doing music really when I was a kid, writing, doing all that. But I was in the band when I was a kid from the time I was in 5th grade to 8th grade. So I did 4 years in band. I played trumpet, played tuba, learned how to read music notes, all that. Got in the 8th grade, finished up, and then started doing my thing with hoop and all that. But I always took that knowledge because I knew as a writer and kind of musician at heart, it was like, yo, I want to keep these skills honed when it's time, it's time. And so I always kept the notebooks, writing songs, doing all that, little mixtapes, rapping on the phone, doing all that type of stuff, staying fresh. And then an opportunity came, 2010, opportunity comes up. The summer 2010, one of my good friends from when I was in elementary school, running to him at like a 4th of July party. Running to him, one of the other guys I went to high school with who I wasn't like super close friends with, but I knew him because I knew he was always with my guy. Yeah. And so we ran into each other, started talking, and he was like, hey, man, we just started doing the music. Like, we've been trying to get into it. We're into it now. Like, yo, we've heard that you've been doing some stuff, that you've been trying to find a space. Like, yo, let's do something. Yeah. I told him, I was like, yo, it's cool. Like, let's do this. Let's make it official. Like, y'all come over to my house. Right. Come over. We'll kick it. Do a little test session. Knowing I had a million bars ready. I will do a little test session. It's cool. Right. So they come over. We hang out.
Just waiting for that moment.
I run them like 5 tracks. Right. My boy was like, yo, it's good. Like, come over. So the next week I came over. June 8th, 2010, I go over to this man's house and started the journey. So June 8th, 2010, recorded my very first project, very first song. And it's, you know, what is it? November, what is it, 7th?
Yeah.
2021, and we still going, man.
Yeah.
So I use the basketball thing in my music a lot as far as reference. So for me, it's been 11 seasons. Basketball-wise, work ethic, same thing with music. Yeah. When I started doing music, I was still in college at Jessup. I was going to classes. I was doing all that, going to the studio, and the mindset in the studio was, hey, if we got 4 songs we're trying to get done tonight, that's what we're doing tonight. Whether they're recorded, written, practice, whatever, that's what we're doing. I'm not leaving out of here without what we just said we're going to do.
Well, I think sports is a good reflection of life, but like I said, it's also a reflection of your character.
Oh, 100%.
Right? You know what I mean?
100%.
My coach always used to say, especially in high school, basketball doesn't lie, right? It tells you who you are.
100%,
and you'll figure that out, you know, if you're more of a selfish type of just individual, you're more than likely a ball hawk. If you're very much, you know, if you're lazy and you don't want to work hard and, you know, just do bare minimum, more than likely you're going to be bare minimum guy in life. You know what I mean? Like, it's just funny how it all reflects. That's why I like having different people on where they understand, like, basketball is the unifying thing amongst all of us, but, right, we apply it to different parts in our life because basketball ends. I don't care. At some point it ends.
It does. And I always used to tell myself when I was in college, when the ball stops bouncing, when the ball stops bouncing, who are you? Right. What are you? And if the ball stopped bouncing my sophomore year when I tore my knee up, I at least could have said, you got 3.8 grade point average. You're a great student. You got some other things going for yourself. You don't have to live and die by that ball bouncing or not bouncing. Yep. And because I always understood that. Always understood it. And even when I got to the point my senior year where I played my last game, and I knew my senior year, I almost felt like Buster Posey just felt his last season with the Giants. Yeah. I'm a huge Giants fan, which was, I'm going to empty the tank. Right. This is it. I'm going to empty the tank. My senior year at Jessup, I knew I'm so dedicated to this music and I have such an affection that even if somebody offered me an overseas contract, as much as I've been working for it for 20 years, right, I'm about to empty the tank. Okay. So every practice, every line drill, when stuff was super hard, I would always tell myself, like, smile about it. Because you're going to look back one day and be like, man, I wish I was still doing this. And so when there would be super hard days where I'd be on the sideline just, like, laughing. And my teammates be like, what is wrong with you, bro? What is wrong with you, T? We are dying out here. I'm like, bro, you don't love this? Come on, bro. Come on, bro. When we get done with this, we're about to go get some food, go back to our apartments that are fully furnished, lights on. We on scholarship. Right. This is beautiful. Huff and puff for the next 6, 7, 8 minutes. Get some water and get over it. Come on, baby.
You're right.
Because in 10 years, when it's tough, you're going to look back like, man, I wish I was still dying at practice.
Well, it's like E.T. says, pain is temporary.
It's temporary. Yeah, so I really tried to take that in and enjoy it.
I like that.
So with my kids now, that's why I was telling them, like, look, as hard as it might be now, enjoy this right now, man. Look at your brother to the right. Look at your brother to the left. Look at the game. Look at the court. Just take it in.
Good stuff, man.
Because when it's over,
it's
over.
Yeah, you're right. Well,
it's over.
Well, then, you got anything, Mark? Or,
Oh, man,
I know I've been
he got me hyped up right now.
I know.
He got me hyped up.
Well, I
He
know.
got me motivated.
Well, it's his
That's
moment.
me.
This is your time. But
That's how
this is
I
always
I
how
got
it
the
is,
shoes
man.
in the car. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Come on, baby.
I'm like, okay.
It's all about just taking advantage of your moment. It doesn't matter when it is or what time it is. You just take advantage, man. That's it. So,
Exactly, man.
I feel the energy.
Well, let's move on to let's talk the NBA a little bit. Let's
Yes,
have
sir.
some fun. Let's talk
Let's do
NBA a little bit. So a couple things. Well, we were just talking about it, the Bulls. Want to talk about them again. Man, they're just fun to watch right now. I don't know if you've been watching them, Mark, a little bit, but they are, man. They're just kind of fun to watch.
Chemistry, you can just tell they love each other. They love playing with each other.
That's what I love about it, man. Being a lifelong Bulls fan, Bulls Kings, but especially my Bulls are for life. Watching the chemistry inside the first 10 games is awesome.
Yeah.
They're so excited for each other.
Yeah.
Those first few games especially, even if a guy gets a tip pass, you got the bench going crazy.
Yeah.
And it's genuine. It's not like
No.
some hoorah,
Right,
Coach
yeah,
Donovan's telling them to do it type stuff. It's
they-
really genuine.
I don't know what I don't know what their summer league was like that got them bonding like I don't know. I mean, I know like LeBron, he would always do things like team dinners and stuff like that. I'm assuming somebody stepped forward
Somebody
and
had
did
to
that.
have done something.
A veteran or somebody.
Yeah.
But again, it could just be natural. Sometimes you just click with guys and they just might all just be
And we've got fun guys.
Yeah.
You got Lonzo's fun.
Caruso.
DeMar is just captivating as not just a mental health advocate, but a guy who's a lifelong Kobeer and a fantastic ball player overall. And then you got Vucevic, who's just quiet assassin type level.
Levine, who's been the staple, he's been the cornerstone.
I mean, I've always been a fan of him, but especially since he's come to the Bulls, just watching him grow and him also last year tell himself, "I'm gonna be an all-star," to become that, and then to become a staple is awesome. And then you've got the young man Alex Caruso, who just does it all defensively, offensively. He's athletic, he attacks, he can shoot. He does a lot of great things.
Championship experience.
That is
But
true.
I mean, the thing with him is, he played like this when he was at A&M.
Yeah.
Just balls to the wall 24/7. So really excited for the Bulls. Really excited for what they're doing. Shout out to Billy Donovan. Shout out to the Bulls front office for making changes.
Yeah.
Shout out to John Paxson for saying, hey, I'm going to take 35 steps back. Let's get a new GM in here. Let's get a new
Right.
Let me chill.
Yeah.
So shout out to them for making some changes, man. I'm excited about the Bulls and who they can be.
Yeah,
See?
I mean, you got some great storylines and some teams doing some big things. My Warriors, very happy with, can't complain. Where I'm sitting at,
man. When Klay Thompson comes back,
right?
I know.
Right? Even if he's everyone's like, well, he might not be. I was like, listen, his game wasn't predicated on his athletic. All he got to do is catch and shoot.
you got this man Steph Curry out here making 13 threes in the game.
Yeah,
winning by 41.
You got Gary Payton.
Jr. The second's dunking on people and locking everybody up.
Come on now.
You've got Jordan Poole coming into his own. He's like basically baby Clay.
Right.
Third splash brother.
Brother. Draymond's always solid.
Yeah.
You're getting Wiseman back. He's getting ready to go
yeah.
down and play in Santa Cruz. He said, I want to get reps in down there and then come right back and be ready to go.
Yeah.
Bro, we're
dangerous.
All
are dangerous.
I'm telling you right now, it's going to take Kawhi a minute to get healthy. Jamal Murray's not back yet.
Yeah.
The Utah Jazz could win 75 regular season games, and I would still be like, we're going to lose in the playoffs.
Exactly.
Every single time. I'm like, they're just the Jazz.
Right.
They're going to be the
Right.
Jazz. The Jazz are going to Jazz. So to me, it's Golden State. It's Golden State.
I mean, and Mark's a super Laker fan,
Man,
and I know he's going through
started,
it
man.
right
Don't get me
now.
started right now, man.
I know you
got
go
these leagues, bro.
Don't get me started right
I
now,
mean,
man.
bro, we just talked. Remember, we just talked about the Westbrook
Yeah,
experiment
man.
too.
I don't know, bro.
Here's my thing with Westbrook is this.
That's
And
LeBron's decision.
I'm a Westbrook fan. I love him.
Yeah,
I
he
love
goes hard.
Westbrook.
You could be a
But
fan of him,
The thing that I think has to happen is this. It's not impossible for Westbrook to run point with AD and Bron. But what needs to happen is for Russell to focus on the back end of the stat sheet. To say, look, I'm cool getting 17, 15. But I'm still going to get them 10-plus rebounds and them 10-plus assists.
Yeah.
So whatever we got going on in the offensive end, let me fit into it. Facilitation-wise, LeBron can't facilitate anything. And, of course, him being out is a struggle. But when he gets back, he can be the facilitator to set those opportunities up.
Yeah.
AD's got to be AD. Even in the loss last night, what AD do? 28, 19, doing AD. So that's going to happen. But you got to allow LeBron to facilitate, Westbrook to fill his role, and then you can't have Rondo and Westbrook on the floor at the same time.
Well, but now
they've been doing that, and
that doesn't work.
It can't.
The shooting is poor.
It's very, very poor. It's gonna be one or the other.
Well, and then LeBron's out for like 4 or 8 weeks, potentially.
A week with the abdominal.
Oh, a week.
The last two. The last one was the ankle.
And that's
but
that's the thing. I feel like, in my opinion, I feel like just the two. When we lost to OKC, they came back from 26, and then they came back from 19. Okay, LeBron didn't play, and from the whole Westbrook, I'm a big Westbrook fan too. But at the end of the day, just looking at his past, all the teams he's played for, playing for KD, he needs to be led. Yep. And I feel like if LeBron's not on the court, right, you can let him be Westbrook. But again, when he's not on the court, right, because KD didn't have that personality to try to lead Russ. That's why he left.
Yeah.
With LeBron, because again, to me, I'm gonna trust LeBron until All-Star break. You know what I'm saying? That
anything LeBron does, we can trust.
Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? Like he's the genius mindset here. So I'm assuming, right, we gonna struggle. But at the same time, my thing, what I'm concerned about, when LeBron has these times when he's hurt, that was the reason why you brought Russ. Yeah. So he can take those rests. You know, he can take that break, because at the end of the day, he's getting old. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they said, and this was a point that was made too. You know, first take, ESPN, whatever. But it was a solid take, which was Russ was brought here to offset the nights that LeBron was not LeBron.
Yeah.
And so if LeBron is out completely, you need him to do that. I mean, with Westbrook, and you take the last couple examples, right? You take Houston. He didn't want to be a spectator to James Harden. I feel like if the game's rules were the way they are now 2 years ago in Houston, he would still be there. Because
the foul
Harden
rules.
Harden can no longer do that.
Harden is struggling.
And then in Washington, Bradley Beal's thing has always been, hey, I'm cool being in a tandem. I had Wall all that.
Yeah.
But he wasn't in a position, and the team wasn't in a position to tell Westbrook to tame anything.
Yeah.
So he was full-fledged Westbrook. Now he's in a position where it's like, hey, you're around other guys that can help you not have to do all of that.
Yeah.
It's just like comparatively in music, right? Where for me, I've been the audio engineer, the producer, the mix, all that. When you finally get in a space where somebody's like, hey, I can mix your vocals. Hey, I can do your cover arts.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
you sit back and just let it happen. Relax.
Okay.
Exactly.
But you have to let it happen. You have to let people help you in the roles that they're great at. And once Russ figures that out, that's when things will click. You see Vogel, who's not gonna he's not freaking out. Everyone's trying to get Vogel to freak out. He's not doing it. That's why I respect Frank. He's like, look, we're 9 games. Relax. Yeah. There's some things we could tweak and fix. We're gonna get Brian back. But I think, hey, once that trade deadline comes and there's some other guys that are available and it's not working out, you might need to think about stretching that floor and bringing in some other shooters.
Yeah, you do. I mean, is it that one's going to be the most interesting storyline. The last thing I want to bring up, and this is more just a reflection for some of you young guys to learn from these mistakes, and it's just because DJ Academics talked to her recently, and I looked up on that the PJ
Brittney
Washington, the Brittney Renner, PJ Washington storyline, like
just absolute shit show.
Like, look, man, I try not to get too much into all that bullshit, but young brothers, please take this as a lesson, man. Like, take this and learn from it, man. Like,
and don't name the little brother after you either. You named him PJ Washington Jr. the third, which solidifies and verifies her doing what she did, because her defense can be, well, we named him after him. Yeah. He's okay with this. He was fine with it. All of that. And on top of that, you're getting reports from people that are saying that PJ Washington, even though he's averaging about 7 minutes a game right now for the Charlotte Hornets, is absolutely eating up the fact that he's a media topic. Yeah. So I think the person that needs to talk to him right now plays currently for our Sacramento Kings. His name is Tristan Thompson. He's to sit this man down and say, listen to me.
You don't want these problems, brother.
You don't want these problems. I went from winning an NBA championship to playing 12 minutes a game and being ousted. Don't do it.
I'm telling you, man.
Somebody better go get them.
These kids got to learn from this mistake, man. Like,
I'm telling you right now.
Be smarter than it, you know. Keep your shit wrapped up, kids.
Stay away from them Instagram hoes.
Exactly, man.
And to keep it 1,000, Brittney Renner at the end of the day thugged her way into this shit like George Bush thugged his way into the White House. And then defends it.
Yeah.
Very, very hard.
Vehemently.
Yeah, on top of that, her thing is, I wrote a whole book about this a year and a half ago. A whole book
talking about this.
All of you guys critically acclaimed for me.
Yeah.
Here we are a year and a half later, and I do what I said that you could do in this book. Now I'm public enemy number one.
Yep.
There's a million females out there right now doing the same thing.
They are.
On the flip side, speaking of music, you get a Summer Walker who drops her album, and London on the Track's her baby daddy, whatever.
Yeah.
But he got like 4 baby mamas.
Right.
So like the whole album is her crying about the fact that she's the 4th baby mama when you could have easily chosen not to be that person.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've got 2 sides of the spectrum.
Sure.
You got your Brittney Renners and your quote unquote predators. And then you have your Summer Walkers who become baby mama number 4, 5, 6, or 7.
Well, like the
make a
comedian,
whole album and make money off it.
The comedian Country Wayne, he got like 5 or 6.
5 or
baby
6.
mamas. Like I was watching. Funny enough, I was on YouTube and randomly because a little document because they do those little documentaries on YouTube. I'm a documentary guy. Like looking at that stuff.
Yeah.
And they did one on a Genuine. It was like a 15-minute one. I didn't know this motherfucker had like 9 kids. He has like 9 kids,
Shout out
like
to
6
Genuine.
baby mamas. I'm like, what?
He also, and speaking, mental health awareness is a big deal.
Yeah.
I'm an Atlanta Falcons fan. Shout out to the Falcons for winning today. But Atlanta Falcons currently are dealing with a mental health issue with Calvin Ridley at the wide receiver spot. Mental health is a big deal, huge deal. So shout out to Calvin and shout out to the Falcons for dealing with that.
Yeah.
But mental health is a overall topic that needs to be applied to all of this in general.
Yeah.
Even for a PJ Washington.
Yeah.
Remember a couple years back, this kid was the man.
Yeah.
The man in Kentucky, right? And doing his thing. Here we are now a couple years later, and he's playing less than 10 minutes a game.
Yeah. I could tell you the guy who's happy about all his fuck-ups is Michael Beasley.
Michael Beasley's like, hey, he making me look like the guy.
Yeah.
And again, mental health. Yeah. Michael Beasley. Even Delonte West.
Yeah.
Some of these guys who have dealt with it.
Even the other Beasley, the one that fucked with Larsa Pippen. I forgot his first name. Is it Brad Beasley or no? I know his last name is Beasley, but he was fucking with Larsa Pippen for a while, and then
he got caught up.
Baby mama.
He got caught up,
and then he got beat up by the NFL player.
Yeah.
So
he got caught up.
Yeah, man, it's just all.
He got caught up messing with Larsa Pippen,
bro.
He got caught up messing with. Because here's the thing, and I'm gonna just say this: I'm a Bulls fan for life. Love Scotty, I do.
Man, Scotty's dealing with his own level of bullshit.
Scottie Pippen right now. I'm gonna just say it. And I have to say it. Scottie Pippen right now is on some bullshit.
Yeah, right.
Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan. You could take any of the quotes. How many times has Michael Jordan said in his Hall of Fame speech, "You can't mention Michael Jordan without mentioning Scottie Pippen. You can't mention 6 championships without Scottie Pippen. You can't mention the '97 MVP in the finals without Scottie Pippen because we were co-MVPs. You can't mention any of this without Scottie Pippen.
Right.
Forever. This brother comes out with a bourbon and a book and a fucked up haircut talking about he couldn't have been more damn condescending. He did the whole Netflix thing.
That's hilarious.
Scotty, you were in the Netflix documentary Hunky Dory.
Yeah.
And when they asked you about why you got mad at Tony Kukoc for making a game-winning shot and why you took yourself out the game, you explained yourself.
Right.
When they asked you why you took $18 million over 7 years, you explained yourself.
Exactly.
With a freaking smile on your face
inside
of an Airbnb with a freaking pink polo on and that BS afro. Stop it, Scotty. I'm having a Stephen A. Smith moment. Stop it.
That's hilarious.
It's ridiculous.
But that's what it is. No,
It's
you're
exactly
absolutely
what it
right.
is.
That's exactly what it is. No, totally agree with you.
And I love Scotty to death. Scottie Pippen, arguably one of the most underrated and disrespected greats of all time.
Yeah.
But here's one of the other people that are disrespected like him, Ray Allen. And you don't see Ray Allen coming out talking about, well, LeBron was so condescending and unbelievable. I mean, to start your own school, really? You don't see Ray Allen doing that.
It's just, I don't know.
It's just
man.
different levels to this, bro.
After Future fucked his wife, man, he ain't been the same.
After Future fucked on Larsa,
I don't know.
And he stopped having the clean cut afro.
Yeah.
He went with my hair. No tame. Then he was like, I'm gonna make a bourbon. I'm gonna start talking crazy about Michael on there.
Man.
You know what's even greater? Michael Jordan has said nothing.
Yeah.
You know in private,
Smart.
in private he's called Scotty like,
really, bro?
hey, if you needed help promoting your book, you just should have talked.
It is what it is, man.
Not everybody has the buying power that you have. You're selling so many shit.
They gonna do what they do, man. They gonna do what they do, bro.
Fucking hilarious.
Oh man.
Moving on from the NBA, last topic, because again, like we were talking about earlier, it's relevant, especially having you here, and I'm sure you might have heard about it on the news, Mark.
Yeah, man.
The whole Travis Scott concert.
Jesus Christ.
Shout out first off. It's not shout out, sorry. Condolences to the families out there that are dealing with their losses. Speedy recovery and prayers up to the people that got injured. We do hope you're okay. All this is just terrible. Obviously, especially after dealing with the pandemic and then not being able to have anything like this. And, you know, the country is trying to get back to normal-ish. Obviously, we're still dealing with different stuff, but then you have this concert and something like this on it, you know what I mean? And unfortunately, the history of it shows that this was inevitable anyway, because Travis Scott is very much someone who is an advocate and a proponent. It's shown through his Twitter feeds, his past concerts. It's a history of he incites this type of behavior. He wants mosh pits. He wants fighting. He wants people acting crazy. I mean, he incites it. It just obviously came to a boiling point to where now he's in a hot seat big time. You know, just out of curiosity because of all the craziness and prepping for the show, I just went to his Instagram, and that's when I saw his. In my opinion, let me make that very clear. In my opinion, not a very sincere apology.
Not at all.
And then
the PR statement.
I was reading the comments on, you know, because you get swept up in that vacuum, and just people were just on his shit. Like, so you really ain't gonna say nothing? Like you're not gonna apologize? You think you're not liable? Like, you fucked up. I mean, I think the last post had like 100,000 plus comments.
It's bad,
and at least 50,000 of them were all talking about this concert.
And the thing that's sad about it is, you know, so he's been doing Astro World for a while, and his original idea for creating Astro World was something that was very childlike. You know, growing up as a kid in Houston, going to these carnivals and festivals, and then having the original Houston Astrodome torn down, and then putting this carnival style event in place of it was something that, as a fan base, you supported. 2019, very similar incident in 2019. You had some injuries happen. He's been arrested for inciting moshes and riots previously. And then at this particular event, you have over 100,000 people. 20,000 plus kids got in that shouldn't have gotten in, that broke through. At an open space where you could have easily held it where the Astros play baseball, which earlier in the day, he had his celebrity baseball game. Holds 72,000 plus people. That's where Megan Thee Stallion had her event at. That's where Beyonce did her homecoming, all of that. You could have easily held this event there. Would have been more security, more control, seating, all these things. Instead, you go for the bag. And not just that, you start to show off with demonic images, fire and Phoenix flames everywhere. On top of that, you deleted the tweet of the dystophia, or whatever the word is. If I'm saying it wrong, I apologize. But that word essentially is a satanic style practice where you put the people that are involved under some style of trance, and whatever you say, they follow, and whatever happens, it's a riot style thing. So he was basically saying the inception is going to occur. On top of that, when you look at the stage and you look at some of the writing on the stage and some of the stage settings, there was things that were talking about end of the road, this, that, very demonic death style things. So for you to put that energy in the air and for 8 people to die, not only that, there's multiple videos of you performing while people are pleading for their lives.
I
Kids
saw one
running up on the cameraman telling him to stop.
Telling him, please
on the
stop,
left side, he's basically singing after he acknowledges somebody being passed out, basically singing to this kid's morgue. There is something super demonic and satanic about what happened, and we've been talking about it for a long time. As an artist and as a hip-hop person and as somebody who has always wanted to be around this, there's been a lot of these things that have occurred that have turned me off from wanting to be around it. Because you could be super talented all day, but the second you step into that realm, you're exposing yourself to something that's totally different than anything you've ever been around before. And I've seen it. And I've avoided it, and I've tried to stay away from it.
I do like that other artists have been coming out. I saw videos showing they've literally showed how they have calmed crowds down.
Oh yeah,
like they're showing
and multiple
like
videos. They showed the Playboy Cardi. You know, it went the Vamps with
like
Playboy Cardi.
They would literally stop. They would say, "Hey, stop!" You just stop the show. And
Playboy
say, hey,
just
check
did
on
it
that
at Rolling
person.
Loud.
Hey,
he just
make
did it
sure
at Rolling Loud.
Yeah.
There was people getting turned, and then he goes, "Hey, they keep cutting my music because like y'all are more important first. Like we're gonna start the music when everybody's good. How's everybody doing? Y'all all right?" And then they're check for like 4 minutes. Jaden Smith, same thing. Last couple years ago, Rolling Loud. He on stage, 10, 15 kids start a mosh. He on the right side. He see it. He goes, hey, hold on. There's a kid on the ground There's a kid on his back right here, guys. Let's get him. So there's a variety of examples. And in that particular situation, for him to acknowledge it and not just say, stop.
That's terrible.
And for me as an artist and as a performer, I've been on stage in front of multiple thousands of people before. If I ever have seen this, there's been multiple instances where we've had to stop shows. A couple of times there's been shows, Boardwalk, Ace of Spades, people getting fights while we're performing. Security coming through. We still performing, but then we see it and we back down. DJ, hold up. What's going? Yo, we addressing this situation right now. And get them out, whatever, cool, we'll keep it going after that. But to perform and care about your dollar bills over the humanity of the people that are putting money in your effing pocket anyways,
evil,
is sick.
Yeah.
It's sick. And before he went into Astro World, he was Travis Scott. Now, you public enemy number one, my brother. Sorry. Exactly. Sorry. I would never do this to anybody that claims to be a fan of mine. For God's sake, there was videos of 5-year-old children in these moshes. Thank God they survived it. Wow. There was a video of Kylie walking through with Stormy through that, right? She less than 4 years old. Anybody could have passed away. So my condolences to the families that lost their children, to the families that are dealing with injuries and all those different things. And anybody that was a first responder, shout out to you, security, ambulances, whoever. Some of these people were dealing with their vehicles being vandalized while trying to take care of these people. Shout out to those folks. Those are the ones that really deserve praise. And if I was Travis Scott, any money that you made from that, you should be donating directly to these families, to the first responders.
It's a great idea.
Well, with that being said, not trying to close it on a grim note, but that's something that needed to be addressed.
Absolutely.
And I felt AT here was more than relevant to talk about it because you know that feel. Thanks for coming in, bro. Appreciate you, man. Thanks, like I said, definitely have a part 2, part 3, all that good stuff. Make sure Mark can be here for the whole show.
Yeah, man. Well, like I said, man, he got me hyped. I love his energy.
I appreciate y'all having me on, man. I've got my own podcast as well, Double Double and Tea Time. We'll definitely have to have you.
Absolutely.
On,
all the links to AT stuff, I'm going to get all your links. They'll be in his description. His Instagram, his social media, his podcast, his music links, all that stuff. Please check him out. Support this brother. He's really doing good stuff. I've known him a long time. He helps out the youths. He helps the coaches. Good. He's just a good man. Just a good man all around, man. And I'm glad you can be on the show.
Absolutely. Shout out to the About That Life podcast, man. AT, Coach Chris, your boy Mark. Appreciate y'all, boy.
Yes, sir.
Mark, you got anything left?
No, man. Like I said, man, it was great meeting you. We definitely got to do this again.
Oh, 100%.
All right, bro. And 100%. We are out.
We are out. Have a good night, y'all. Yes, sir. That's how we do it.
Get down.